Welcome back to episode 10 of Raising Whitetails. I'm your host, Aaron Haig, and with me is my dad, the owner of Haig Valley Whitetails, Jeremy, and my brother, Isaac Haig. Welcome to Raising Whitetails. Our family became deer farmers with a lot of questions, so we started documenting everything. What actually happens on a deer farm. Not just the wins, but the lessons and everything in between. The moments that no one talks about, real, raw, and unfiltered. This is our journey for the new deer farmers. Now today, the episode is going to be all about taking care of our fawns. We have two doe fawns, as you know, Violet and Dixie, and we're going to be kind of showing you our day-to-day process of bottle feeding them, pooping and peeing them, making sure that they look healthy, we're weighing them. So you're going to get to see that. But before we get into that, we're going to kind of talk about some interesting things that happened early in the week. So on Tuesday, we had 7 more deer. And in the morning, once again, we had 3. Well, not once again, but at 5 in the morning, we had deer again. So we didn't get to see an actual birth.
Right. I woke up again on Tuesday morning seeing 2, which then turned into 3.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
That was a funny moment there.
We were expecting twins out of all of our deer, and that is not how this all went. And it was shocking, surprising, fun, all the way around. But really, one of the biggest shocks were, for us anyway, was the fact that all 7 deer we had that day were bucks, and that's and I keep thinking about all the veterans out there that are having 100, 200, 300 fawns on the ground. And yeah, for them, they're having, $50 a day type of a thing. But for us, with 6 deer, to end up with 7 bucks in one day as first-time deer farmers, first-time birthing mamas out there, it was quite the shock. I mean, as we kept going through, and you'll see in that gender reveal that we just kept, it kept being one buck after another, and I was expecting at least 1 or 2 does, 3 does at least, and it just kept buck, and it was surprising. It was fun.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was very surprising. We went out there in the morning on Tuesday, and we were going to just tag them like normal, exactly how we did Violet and Dixie. And we wanted to do it before Isaac and Caleb had to go to school. And we were sitting there tagging the second, or what we thought was going to be the second deer, and the last one from Clover. And all of a sudden, I see some ears popping out of the grass. And I start freaking out because I'm like, I'm wondering if maybe Violet or Dixie somehow got into that pen, which obviously could not have happened. And so I'm seeing a buck fawn in the corner of the pen. Isaac's holding a buck fawn, and I see another fawn sitting in the grass. I'm like, guys, there's another fawn sitting right there. And so we're like, obviously Clover had to have triplets, and that was crazy.
I was actually tagging the last buck fawn, I believe, and Aaron, with this super surprised sound in his voice, is like, wait, there's one over there. Isaac's holding one. Whose is that one?
Yeah.
And then we just realized that, and you know what? Clover was as big as a house. So after we figured that out, it's like, yep, now we know what a doe giving triplets is supposed to look like, because she was humongous before she gave birth. So it was a great surprise.
Yeah, it was. And then after we had tagged all the deer, all the fawns, we'd put them back in the pen. And throughout the day, we had seen Daisy. This was our first sign, because we didn't think Daisy was going to give birth this day.
Well, mind you, one more point about Clover. She gave birth to 3 6+ pound fawns, buck fawns. So, I mean, I even called some of the guys, Austin, he's like, are you sure that she gave birth to all 3? Because those are pretty big triplets. I said, I am quite positive that those were all hers. And, as the day's events went on, we're 100% sure. And eventually the DNA will also confirm that. But, they were 6+ pound healthy buck fawns for a mid-size 120, 30, maybe 140 pound doe. So she did really well with that.
Yeah. So she had those 3, and because of that comment, there was like a thought in our heads that maybe Daisy, who was our yearling, had a single, And she really took affection to one of the fawns and was
she did.
licking her all day.
Yeah, she did. And she was the one deer that we had that I thought, if we're going to have a single, that's the one, because it would have been her first fawn ever. And from what I understand, their first time having babies, they'll have one. And then they'll have, twins after that.
So she was doing that all day, and we thought, okay, there's a possibility this is hers, but we were like, she looks pregnant still. Yeah. There's no way.
I just didn't think so.
But that was our first sign from Daisy. So then later at, I think it was 4 o'clock maybe.
Yeah, it was right around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I saw Ruby sitting in the corner of the carport, and I yelled down to you. You were down in the studio here, just editing and things. I yell. I'm like, Aaron, Ruby's having birth, or giving babies, or having babies, or whatever I yelled. It was something probably didn't make any sense at all. But again, it was kind of like that first morning when we had the fawns and our first fawns, the does. I'm like yelling, get up here, because what we wanted to do, what our goal was, to try to get it on film. And I'm like, Aaron, get up here. So
yeah, and we got a lot of it on film. So I come up and I set up the camera and we get recording, and it took honestly way longer than I expected. Oh. What?
Yes, that's a mic drop.
Yeah.
So here's a new deer farmer moment. And we just caught it on complete and total, like not rehearsed whatsoever. So a new deer farmer moment for me is the fact that my youngest son and I, Caleb, came out with me this morning, and we're inventorying the fawns, all 7 bucks in the pen, and we couldn't find one. We go out, we look at their ear tags, we mark them all off. There's 3 through 9, and we're keeping track of them. And this is our first time having all these fawns in one pen, and we've got a half-acre pen in our backyard, and we kept looking, and Caleb and I kept marking down. I have it on my phone. I've got all the numbers, and we couldn't find number 8. And we tried and we were starting to work up the deer too much, and we've got 2 pregnant deer in there, and I know I'm not supposed to run them hard trying to do that, so we can't keep combing this pen over and over and over trying to find this last fawn. And it got to the point where I was getting extremely worried, and we've had a couple of them slip out of the gates and get into a pen just next door. So I was walking all of those pens. I was walking around the pens that I mowed yesterday, the other 2 pens in the back. I couldn't find this fawn anywhere. And my wife's been sitting out on the deck for the last couple hours waiting for them to come up and start feeding. And there's 3 here and there's 3 here. And we're still like, what is going on? Why can't we find this? All morning long, there's only been 6 and there's supposed to be 7. And again, the veteran deer farmers out there are probably going, what are you worried about? It'll show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get it. But as a new deer farmer with only 7 bucks and can't wait for having bucks, to lose one would be pretty rough right now, especially just with our first time trying to let the mothers take care of all the fawns, right? So my wife just texted me now and said, we found them all. And it's been like, I don't know, I've been up since 4:30 this morning. So 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11, 7 hours of me not knowing where this last fawn is. So this is a real moment for a new deer farmer of finding a fawn you thought you lost after 7 hours of wondering where it is. So all the new deer farmers out there, if you're wondering how they hide so much, this is the reality of it. If you think they're missing, chances are they're just hiding. And we just realize that now that we now have 7 fawns back.
And we gave them a lot of hiding spots with those barrels.
We did. I thought they'd use the inside of those barrels all the time. Nope. They wedge themselves between the fence and the barrel. They'll wedge 2-3 of them back there, and I have no idea how one fits back there. I was worried they couldn't back out of it because they were so wedged in there, and they're stacked like cordwood. They're not going in the barrel. So yes, exactly. So who knows where he was? I'm sure Joy will tell us that your mom will tell us that when we go upstairs. She just snuck in here and confirmed that we knew that we found all 7. But that's a real moment right there.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome.
So I don't know where the heck we were.
we were with Ruby, so I was just surprised with how long it was actually taking.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe 30 minutes or even an hour of us sitting there just like waiting, and you could see the head and the hooves coming out.
Yeah.
But she just kept getting up and then spinning and sitting down and getting up and spinning.
Right. And unfortunately, Isaac here was at track or at school, and he missed all of this stuff. So luckily we got it on film for him.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate when you're still in high school and you're still in sports, and I mean, that's a fortunate thing to be in, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to catch a deer farm and all the things that happen, it's hard to when you're doing all that stuff. But Aaron did a really good job of filming it. And I mean, my experience as I saw it happening, I saw her for sure in there laying down, pushing, and I got Aaron up here. He got all the filming done, and then we went from there. And I don't know, I can tell you where I saw it all happening, and then you picked up when I left to go to Caleb's baseball game.
Did you see the first one get born?
I did.
Okay.
I did. So Caleb had a baseball game at, I think it was like, we had to go all the way to Amory, so it's an hour and a half away. Or no, it wasn't that far. It's 30 minutes away. I'm sorry. So we had to go to Amory for a baseball game, and I was sitting out pushing the limit as to when I had to leave because I'm the head coach of the team, and I have to be there when I say everybody else has to be there, right?
Yeah.
And here we've got Ruby in the carport, in the shelter out there, for sure giving birth to the first fawn, and she's pushing, and we're not 100% sure until she stands up and she's got a hoof and a nose sticking out the back, right? So she stands up, turns around, and puts her right against the plywood wall.
Yeah.
I look at Aaron, I'm like, Aaron, how is she gonna push that out against the plywood wall?
Yeah.
And I'm nervous about every aspect of this, right? Because I mean, the first one we've actually seen happen. Mm-hmm. Everyone else just happened before we ever got out there. So we'd already had 5 of them that gave birth that we didn't get to see. Yeah. So it's exciting and nerve-wracking all along, right? And so she's pushing and she stands up, turns around again, and the first one, as she turns, it drops out. Mm-hmm. And then I look at Aaron, I'm like, I gotta go. It's 4:30. We gotta be there by 5:15. I gotta go. So I left it all up to Aaron. Isaac, did you come? You hadn't come home yet.
No,
right? You were still at track.
Home. Yeah, right? I was way late.
Yeah. So you kind of missed everything, didn't you? That's unfortunate.
Yeah, you missed everything.
I got home right about when it was basically getting dark.
Okay. All right. So you got to watch video.
Yeah. That's all I got to see.
Yeah. So I leave. And now I got the phone on me, and I'm waiting for Aaron to let me know what's happening. As far as I know so far, we have 3 fawns from this morning, the triplets, and now we've got 1. Mm-hmm. And she's doing very well. Obviously, she does what, and I'm assuming we're going to show this in film, right? Yep. So you're going to see what she does with the fawn.
And actually, then, with the first one, I think I have a really good video of her eating the
placenta.
The placenta.
Yeah. We've got a really good shot of all this. So I leave. Now it's all up to Aaron to watch and make sure everything's going good, and I don't have to turn back around because we've got a fawn stuck or something to that effect. So Caleb and I are in the car and we're out of here. And my wife is going to his track meet, so she also did not get to see any of this other than film, right? Mm-hmm. So now Aaron takes over because he watched it all from there.
Yeah, and here's some context too. Ruby. This is the deer we're talking about giving birth now. She looked bigger than Clover. And so we were expecting also triplets from her because we were like, okay, Clover looked that big. Yep. She had triplets.
And this was a 180-pound deer. She's our biggest deer, our second to oldest deer. She's now turned 4. But yeah, she was absolutely giant as well. And she's the biggest deer we have.
So we were expecting triplets out of her. She's laying there after the first one's born. I'm just by myself. I'm just still watching it. Actually, my eyes were starting to hurt with how long I had the binoculars up to my eyeballs. But she's, licking the fawn like normal. He starts to get up and walk, and it's actually really funny trying to watch them take their first steps for the first time because they're literally trying to get up. They do the splits and roll, and they're like hitting things. Yep. It's really funny. And I'm like Googling. I'm like, how long will it take for the next one? And I'm like on my phone Googling, and all of a sudden I see another one coming out. And so I quickly put my phone back, and And I also had saw something when I Googled that after the first fawn comes out, the next ones come out way faster.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so as I put my phone out, because I could just see the head coming out, she, within the next minute or two, pushed the entire thing out. It literally took like 5 minutes for her to do it.
Didn't you say Daisy stepped in between
Not
them?
yet.
Really? So the second was born first. I thought
Yes.
you said okay, go ahead.
So the second one was born. She pushed out the second one. And then as she pushed out the second one, it was like the moms kind of like sensed she was giving birth because they all kind of got up and started like walking. And they were like, they were being like nosy moms. They were walking through the carport and like taking looks, but they kept going. Except for Daisy.
Like nothing happened in here.
Yeah. Daisy, though, she literally walks up
That's
to
our
Ruby.
yearling. Yep.
As she has one by her, she has a fawn by her butt, and she has one that she's licking. And Daisy comes up and starts licking the one that was just born.
Okay.
And then she tries to lay down, and Ruby kind of like does a little kick at her head. And so then Daisy stands back up, but she keeps like licking the fawns and is standing right next to them. So at this point, Ruby is sitting in the corner, and her head is kind of facing the far wall.
Yeah.
And she tries to lay down with her head towards Ruby's butt.
Who does?
Daisy.
Daisy does. So
Yes.
like opposite way she's pointing.
Basically.
Okay.
So she finally lays down. Ruby allows her to lay down. And
Like
she
right inside her.
right inside there. And
Okay.
so I was getting a little upset because I'm like, I can't record any of this now because she's in the way. And so she starts licking this newborn fawn. She's licking the other one, and Ruby's allowing it now. She doesn't care anymore. And I'm wondering when Ruby's going to have her third one because I'm still expecting it. And
Well, at this point, we had no idea she was having triplets, though.
No,
we
no,
assumed
yeah.
it was just two. So, I mean, we're only assuming twins every time. So at this point, we have no clue we're about to have triplets.
I believe the second one was born. So the first one was born at 4:30. The second one was born at 5. And so then at around 5:15ish, I'd say, is when Daisy stood back up and is like turning, and there was hay stuck to her butt.
Yeah, and I saw this video. I think. I haven't seen it all yet. But
You haven't seen it all, but there was hay stuck to her butt. And so I was with someone at the time, and she was like, well, if there's hay stuck to her butt, then maybe she's giving birth because why would it be wet?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't think she's ready yet. And boom, I see a little hoof sticking out. It literally looks
This
like...
is out of Daisy now.
Yes. Out of Daisy. There's a little stick hanging out of her, is what I thought. And I pull up the binoculars. I'm like, oh, that's a hoof.
Yeah.
And so she sits down again, kind of like in the same position Ruby is, keeps licking the fawns.
She's practically laying on Ruby, though, right? So Daisy's practically laying on top of Ruby, who just gave birth to two fawns.
Yep. And so then I think Ruby ends up getting up again, and she sits with her butt now to the corner. So her head is facing us. She's continuing to lick her fawns. Daisy stands up again, and you can see now two hooves sticking out. She lays the same way Ruby. So they're both laying with their butts towards the corner and heads facing towards.
Right.
And so then they continue to lick, and around, I believe it was 5:45ish, Daisy stands up again, and it's hanging out of her. And then she does like a full circle, walks over on top of Ruby, and drops her fawn right on top of Ruby.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
That poor Ruby.
Yeah.
She's been through trauma.
It was insane. So she drops her fawn on top of Ruby.
Wow.
Like right in the middle of the two other fawns that Ruby gave birth to. So there's 3 of them in there.
Yeah.
And Daisy kind of like walks back around and sits back where she was, and she starts licking her fawn. And at this time, I was like, okay, I have to go feed Violet and Dixie. So I go feed Violet and Dixie.
Which are bottle babies that
Yes.
we're working with, yeah. And then because we were all at sporting events, Aaron and his girlfriend were going to go feed the bottle babies. So go ahead.
So yeah, my girlfriend and I, we go to feed the bottle babies, and we come back, and I'm cleaning the bottles, and Libby, my girlfriend, looks through the binoculars, and she goes, I think there's 4 of them. And so then...
So you didn't see the third one born?
I didn't.
Okay.
And so then I go...
So while you were bottle feeding, our triplets were born from Ruby.
Yeah. So then I go back, and we pick up the binoculars, and sure enough, the first 2 that Ruby had were up and walking.
So wait a second. Do we know that they both didn't have twins?
Yeah, it can't, because I checked back the footage.
Oh, you were videoing it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I figured if you weren't there, okay, so you saw the third one come out of Ruby.
Yes.
Yeah, see, this is all new. Guys, I haven't seen the videos yet, so
Yeah.
this is all like real time here of me learning more information about how these $7 came into
It was
our
Ruby.
farm.
It was Ruby's for sure.
Okay, good.
And so, yeah, I come back and I look and I was like, sure enough, it was Ruby's. Her first two were up and walking. Daisy was licking her own, and you could see Ruby putting her head all the way back into the corner and licking another one, very fresh.
Wow.
And
Okay.
And then I think after that, the first two started to walk away. I don't know if you guys were home by this time then, but
We didn't get home till like 7 or 7:30 that night, I think is when we got home.
yeah. But the first two were kind of walking away, and those were big boys.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, when you really look back at this, and another thing that shocks a few people that I've told that are actually in the industry is we had triplets that were 7'6", 9'4",
Yeah.
and 10 pounds 2 ounces.
Yeah.
So this is a big doe having big bodied fawns. So I'm really anxious to see what happens with her babies, provided they stick around and quit leaving us like the one
Yeah,
did
quit
today.
hiding. So
In my mind, was leaving us.
while all this is happening, I'm messaging you, I'm messaging mom, I'm messaging Nana.
Yeah, I know. My mom, Nana, was in the stands
Yeah.
at Caleb's game going, "Are you getting these texts from Aaron about all these fawns being born and the stuff happening with Daisy?"
So I'm texting and I'm calling a ton of people, and it was either Nan or you had said, make sure you keep track of who's who. And I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We gotta tag them and figure out who's who. Obviously, we can wait till the DNA comes in, but I'd rather know.
And so I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And so I sat down and I was looking at videos and I was holding binoculars. I was kind of like going back and forth, and I was trying to figure out all these. And so Ruby's first two are easier to tell because they're bigger bucks. But the main thing that I picked out between Daisy's 1 and Ruby's 3 was Ruby's deer have stripes from their ears to their dots on their back, and it's 2 clean stripes.
Okay.
And Daisy's did have a little bit of striping, but it was faded, and it was very like,
So it's obvious which one was which.
Yeah.
it was pretty obvious.
And hers was what? How much did it weigh? I don't remember.
Was it 6 pounds?
Was it that high?
Or 7?
I guess I'm not sure. We'd have to look back.
I think
but
it was 6 pounds.
it was still for a yearling. It was a decent size.
Yeah. But Ruby's third and Daisy's third could easily be mixed up because Ruby's was smaller and her stripes were a little bit faded. But then what I also realized a little later on was I was like, okay, there are faded dots on Ruby's third, but then I saw Daisy's buck fawn had a black on its tail on the outside.
Okay.
And so then when you brought it over, I was like, all right, let me see the tail. And there was a little bit of black, and I'm like, yeah, that's Daisy's
Absolutely.
right there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And if you really put it into context, the size of these fawns, I've been watching on Facebook, and there's been a lot of triplets being born. Some of the third triplets, the small triplets, are 2-3 pounds. I mean, our smallest of any of the triplets are 6.2 pounds, and that was Clover's. And the smallest triplet that Ruby had was 7.2 pounds. So it really puts in context really how big her fawns are for being triplets. Yeah. So we're really we're pretty thankful for the size of those triplets, and they're taking care of them well. So the other side of this is now we're a couple days later right now, and it was a Tuesday and today's Saturday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's 4 days later. We've got 4 mothers out there that are taking care of all 7 of these. And the weird part is we pulled the 2 doe fawns from Fern, and it's been 5 days or 6 days or longer, 7 days since we did that.
It was 7.
So and we for sure thought Fern was dried up. And everybody I talked to, would they still be lactating? And no, probably not. They dry up after a day or 2 if nobody's been nursing off of them. I tell you what, they are definitely nursing off of Fern. They keep coming back to her. They spend 2-3 minutes nursing there. She has either started lactating again or never stopped. But it's pretty phenomenal to watch these 4 mothers nursing all 7 of these babies, and the fact that I think we're gonna have very successful, healthy fawns because they're letting each other nurse off of. And I've heard other things. I mean, clearly, the amniotic fluid got on Ruby from Daisy, from the whole piled on birthing that
Yeah.
they had. So I'm sure all 4 of those fawns think that their mother is one or the other.
Right.
They're helping for sure.
I mean, with Daisy licking Ruby's fawns, they're probably thinking that's their second mom.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at this, and again, this is a new deer farmer's reaction, you guys. We are looking at this like this is absolutely the first time we've ever seen this. You're hearing the surprise in all of our voices, and the first time that we've seen this. So, and every time I've talked to a veteran deer farmer, they're like, "Yep, we've seen all that.
Yeah.
Yep, we've seen that." So this is our shock of what we're seeing now for the very, very first time. And I couldn't be more nervous and fun and excited all at the same time. And I don't get nervous about a whole lot. My wife calls me a robot. So with that being said, I'm probably as nervous as I've ever been, even with a human baby.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's a lot of fun though. And Isaac, I am so sorry you didn't get to see any of this in person.
No, I was gone the whole time.
Yeah, you
The
get
only
to
thing
come.
I really got to experience was help tagging him when I got back that night.
Yeah,
and
well-
that morning
the next morning. Yep.
or the morning the first triplets were born. I helped tag them before I went to school, and then that night when I got back, I helped tag.
Well, we're trying to include you in on as much as you can. If
Yeah.
you just go quit all the sports and quit school. You come do all this.
Yeah,
you know?
quit school and take care of it.
No.
I'm dad of the year, by the way. So no, but it's been a definitely a heck of a week. Quite the ride for sure.
Yeah. But with those 7 being born, our ratio as of now is 7 bucks to 2 does, and I think we're expecting probably 4 more.
Yeah, we should see twins out of both of those
Yeah.
too. Although I don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, we don't know when it's going to happen, but we're expecting 4 more. So I believe there's only a couple of you maybe left that could actually win this gender reveal.
Yep.
So if it comes down to it where no one wins once we have our next fawns born, then we'll obviously do the drawing and we'll put everyone who entered their guess in, we'll do a drawing. And that'll be the winner.
Yeah, we've got 2 deer left, Ivy and Sunny. And those of you who haven't been to our website, I know we showed our website on one of the episodes, but if you haven't watched that episode, as we talk about these deer, you can go back to our website and see all of this that we're talking about and how they've been bred. But we've got 1 AI deer left, and we've got 1 live bred deer left. Ivy was live bred by Wiley SS, which is one of our featured bucks. And Sunny was AI'd to one of Brad's deer, 2359, which is an absolute beast. But now I'm starting to think maybe the AI didn't take and will be on a Sandburr son that was the cover buck. So we'll see. They don't even look like they're close. They do look very pregnant. They just don't look like they're close like the rest of them did when they did finally give birth. So we don't honestly know when those 2 are going to have their fawns because of when the live bred could have taken place. I'm thinking that Ivy got bred on the 2nd cycle in with the live bred with Wiley. So
Yeah.
we'll have to stay tuned for that one and see what the rest of the gender reveal is going to be. And we're going to get Isaac in on it as much as we possibly can because now track is over. On a good
School's coming to an end.
Yeah,
About
school. Yep,
week left.
Exactly. So that's a good deal there. So he can be more part of this as well. And other than that,
With that being said, we're just going to show you our day-to-day routine for feeding these bottle babies.
Yep. And there's a lot of different things we learned, and we're going to kind of start doing a few how-to things as well, as far as we've learned different ways of doing things. So we want to kind of put all that out there for the new deer farmer to see what they're about to get into or what they might be experiencing now, or to confirm what they've already done if they're ahead of us type of thing. So, or maybe learn some new different ways of doing things.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it.
Good morning, Jeremy Haig with Raising Whitetails. It is 5 o'clock in the morning, and we are about to make the milk for the day. We're using Fox Valley Day 1 powder formula, and so that's a 1-part formula or 1-part powder to 2 parts water. So I'm taking measuring cup. I'm doing basically a half a cup of the powder and a full cup of the water. So we'll put 2.5 of these in. Just 2 cups of water. 5 cups in. 5 of these in. This is a half a cup. So again, half a cup to 1 cup. With a picture like this, I can put it all in. And it's fine. I like to do small batches. I might do a little bit before, so I'm going to do it small batches. And we'll do one more. Of course, you always want to watch before. Start telling me watching these. I do a couple times. Just keep that extra, know. Now I haven't started. I thought about just throwing this in a blender. I got one of these Mueller hand mixers, and that's been working really well for me. But I'm thinking about getting to a regular blender, like a Ninja blender or something, which I'm going to try here probably tomorrow. If you use this little thing in a small cup like this, it will get all over the place. You've got to be very careful. You can do it, but this thing really gets whipping, and I've covered this counter before with milk. It wasn't fun. Make sure you blend it where there's no chunks in it. This stuff is good for, if you don't heat it up, it's good for 24 hours in the refrigerator. So if you want to do like we're doing, we do a day at a time. That way, I don't know, you'll really appreciate it. We started out doing it where we're warming every bottle. You'll really appreciate it if you make a batch for the day. Now, again, we've got 2 bottle baby fawns. So if you've got 100 or 50 or whatever, that's I can't even imagine that. So we'll have to see how that goes in the future, how much I really want to bottle feed. But right now we're getting our herd calm to begin with, so then maybe they can make, if we don't end up continuing this bottle feeding process as we get more and more doe fawns, then maybe these doe fawns that we're getting calm and raising their fawns, maybe they'll be calm enough to where we don't have to bottle feed. They can just bring their fawns up to us. And I'm sure that's how a lot of the farmers are doing it with those numbers. That's how we make a pitcher of milk. Okay, we're about to put the bottles together for the does. Here's a picture of milk. This is our sterilizer. It's a bottle sterilizer. I usually put anything from our mixer pieces in there to the nipples and we use the Pritchard nipples like most of the industry does. And then, the different lamb and kid bottles, these are actually small 400 milliliter spray bottles. So these work really, really well. Typically, and we can show you our schedule, but today we're just mixing up. So what I'll do here, so we've kind of found a neat little thing, the sous vide cooker, steak cooker that Austin Schaff actually recommended for us. And so I will fill this up with, and now this milk foams when you do this enough to where you want to add more. You want to add more than what you're after because it will settle. So I will fill that up. I will put this on it. Now we'll start the cooker. Hold your finger on the power button. Now we want to set the temperature at 110, which this is always set at 110. And we'll hit the power. And now that'll start putting the water through the cooker and getting it to exactly 110 degrees. And then we just put the cold milk in the bottle and in the cooker, and it'll get it right to 110. And when it's ready to go, we'll take it out and feed the girls. All right, so we are going to take them and out of this fawn box, which is on the edge of being used. I'm sure if they wanted to, they could probably jump out of this now, especially this one, because she's got a lot of energy. She likes to run and jump, and she's just growing up very fast. So we're going to take them out of this fawn box, which is putting them in at night for protection. And we're going to go put them out into our handling pen that we've kind of turned into our fawn pen at this point. So we're going to take one here, and because they get a little bit crazy, first we're going to take a weight though. The hanging scale doesn't work at this point, so we're just doing this. 224.6. She weighs exactly the same, 224.6. So I've got to do the math on that. And we'll get that, and we'll write that on the list later. So we'll film that later. Now we're going to take them out and feed them. To poop and pee them, and they're warmed Oh, and I can tell needs to go right now. So they smell. All right, let's go. All right, again, for 2 fawns, this is pretty easy to do. So we're trying to make this just like in the wild, to where they got to reach up and they've stretched their neck out to reach mom, and it makes it so the milk just kind of goes down their throat as they suck. You'll notice, and I don't know why, this is just what she does, but she kicks her front feet when she feeds, whereas Violet does not, or Dixie does not. Now she's peeing really good. We've got to figure out why Dixie has got a little bit runny stool situation going on here. Started yesterday. I think I might have increased her too fast. I went to 6 on her pretty fast, and I think that might be the issue. Like I said before, to try to fix the problem, we put some pumpkin in there to try to get a little more solid, and it started out runny and then it moved to solid. And now this is normal. This is what you want to see right here. This is what they've been since the beginning, after the meconium, I guess it's called. But that's what you're after right there. More solid. Just like that. And the other one is a lot runnier. However, as she went, it got better. So that's a good sign. And every deer is different. So she's always had the same amount as her. You can clearly see that there's a difference in just body shape between the two. She's bigger than her, yet they weigh the same, which is a little bit interesting. I'm surprised about that. We may go reweigh her to see if she is any different, but their energy's the same. They're eating, they're peeing, everything is going, as far as healthy goes, great. She's just got a little runny stool. I want to try to stay ahead of that by asking the people that I usually ask, as far as, what do I do to get that better, to get it more solid like Violet. So that what I'm learning is the stool is a big telltale sign of their health and how they're doing. So if it's not healthy, solid like Violet's, you get ahead of it, because scours and Clostridium, things like that, those are things that can kill the fawn if we don't get ahead of that. So I'll be working on trying to figure that out a little bit more today and getting her to where she needs to be. Okay, so another part of our system that we've kind of adapted to, so they're in that fawn box, and those fawn boxes we're at 11 days right now, and they're getting pretty wild and crazy. They'll run from end to end. You see the pen we have here. You've seen it in previous podcasts where this is our exit pen. So the deer come out that door and go out there, back out to the pens after they've been handled in the chute. But we're kind of transitioning this into the fawning pen for now. And this is 100 feet long by 16 feet wide. They're kept, it's kind of solid on both sides with the shade cloth. So the reason we did this is, as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to keep them in those little fawn boxes in there any more than they have to be. We're bringing them in at night in case something like a fisher, or because we got fishers around here, any other wild animal that might come after. They have no mother in here to protect them, so we put them in the fawn boxes or inside the building is the plan. I think tonight we're going to start putting them on the floor down in our end room here, right inside that gate at nighttime, and then just letting them out in here and kind of making this their pen until we release them out into the big pens. So that is the goal right now, is to get them out of the fawn boxes into the room. They're going to utilize this every day. We leave them out here all day long. It makes it so when it's hot out, it's hot like it is for the rest of the deer. You put them in that steel building, and it's like until I get it air conditioned and insulated and all that, which is part of the construction process of the new deer farm here. We want to make it so they can just be in the normal elements like outside. So this is the plan here. We've got one more of these pens right next to here if we need it for more fawns or more room or whatever. So that's kind of the plan here for what we're doing, raising these fawns up to be healthy adults. Right, Violet? Right, Violet? There you go.
With all of that, let's get into the featured buck of the week.
This week's featured buck of the week is Black Powder out of White Mountain Whitetails in Dawson, Alabama, owned by Cade White. Let's get into the buck breakdown. Black Powder's NADAR number is 384102. He was born in 2022, making him a 3-year-old. At 3 during Nadifa, this buck scored 450 and 3/8 and took home second place in the 3-year-old class, first place in the 3-year-old mainframe class at 270 and 4/8, and first place for the longest tine at 17 and 2/8. 3 placements as a 3-year-old, let that sink in. On the genetic side, his GEBV is a 0.16, and at Codon 96, he is a GG. Now let's get into this pedigree. Starting on the dam side, Black Powder's dam traces through Triple Crown, then through Bambi Yardstick, all the way back to Nitro. On the other side of Bambi Yardstick, you have Gladiator. On the other side of Triple Crown, you have Sudden Express, and then Max Bow Hardcore. Now flipping to the sire side, you have the Back in Black, through Blackjack, then Big Stitch, back to Stitches, and then Bambi 2028. On the other side of Blackjack, you have Horsepower, Express, and Freeze Frame. As Black Powder is a 3-year-old, his offspring are just starting to hit the ground. But based on what's behind him and the records he is setting, you can tell that he's going to produce some big bucks. If you want to introduce Black Powder into your program, conventional and male sex semen are both available right now. Reach out to Cade White at White Mountain Whitetails at 256-899-5012 or dcade4221 at gmail.com. You can also find them on Facebook at White Mountain Whitetails.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of Raising Whitetails. Make sure to comment down below things you want to see in the future, and make sure to subscribe and like the video so you can see future content from us. Also, after this gender reveal giveaway, you want to stay tuned because we have another massive giveaway coming soon. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.